I know that your employees are excellent, that they know all about your supply chain, how to get the goods from point A to the people that are buying them on point B, to get things from the raw materials to the manufacturing facility to the warehouse. But they're human and things happen, and sometimes you get a kink in your line, you get a knot in your supply chain. That's where I come in. Sparkman with Supply Chain Services. See, I take your supply chain and I've got the quickest way to get things from point A to point B. We're here to help you fix the easy problems all the way up to the difficult problems. It could be something as simple as the problem the schoolboy used to have on the playground. He'd tie his shoestrings in the morning. As he'd run, he'd get a loop through this way. He'd get a string through a loop that way, a string through a loop that way, and then it'll all get tightened up. Now, if you have a snafu like this in your supply line, your customers may get upset. You call us a Supply Chain Services, we just grease the problem and fix it, and it comes right apart just like that. Now, I know it can get worse than that. I mean, you can get good knots like they teach you in Boy Scouts, you know, the kind where you go right over left and left over right. Maybe this is the truck driver trying to find his location. He goes right over to the left and left to the right and back up through the middle, and he ends up with a big old huge knot that tightens right down like that. You call Supply Chain Services. We use our software, our special people. We help untangle your mess. Okay, so things are running along smoothly in your supply chain. Then you have a little problem and you're putting out a fire or talking on the phone or dealing with a customer, and a problem comes along and you don't hear about it, and it just compounds itself. And a problem happens on top of another problem. You get a knot on top of a knot. Your chains get tighter and more disorganized and more knotted up till you have a multiple compound knot. Now, if I were to hand the ends of this to your employees to unravel, it might take hours, days, weeks. And the problem with that is they can't get their normal productivity done, their normal things done, because they've got this big knot to deal with. So you call Sparkman Supply Chain Services. We'll massage the problem until it seems at least much clearer. And then we have another knot, because this is a compound problem. So I just keep massaging and keep pulling. And even though that the ends are in play and we have a knotty problem, I keep rubbing until it's not. Now, the truth is, these problems are tough for anybody, even Supply Chain Services, but we've been at it so long, and we are so good at what we do. We have the best people, the best software, that we can help you with your biggest problems. It is almost like the knots in this rope open and close. You know, if this was threading a needle, even though it's a big eyelet, it's very hard to thread a needle. But when you get so good with your technical support and with your people, you can just open and close the knot and thread the needle just like that and get your supplies where they need to go. So we just open and close the knot and give it a little tug just like that, and it goes right where we want it to go. Supply Chain Services. Thank you. Hey, my name is Sparkman. They call me Sparkman because that's my last name. And for a living, I'm a professional magician. I work in the corporate world. And whenever I'm performing, particularly doing close-up magic and meeting people, whether it's cocktails or a picnic or a trade show or maybe a hospitality booth, when I'm meeting people, the good salesmen are always coming up to me and asking me to teach them a trick. Now, I don't normally have time to teach this, but I've started thinking about things that I do and ways to help them. You see, part of what I do is put together programs where I help sell companies' goods and services, and I illustrate them with magic. The magic I use, I've often been working on for years. I wanted to put together some tricks that a salesman could do that don't take sleight of hand skill. They mostly take some memory. And then you can put your presentation with whatever your product is to it to make it fun. You see, I think it may be Jeffrey Gitomer, but somebody said, all things being equal, people buy from people that they like. And all things not being equal, people still buy from people that they like. So the best salesmen are fun, personable, and I've known many who like to learn some simple tricks. So that's the idea here. I worked hard on that presentation for about 30 seconds before I started this, so it's pretty stupid and isn't well thought out, the supply chain services, but you see how it could be a supply chain. I could be an internet company or a computer services company, and when you have a virus it gets all knotted up. I could be selling roofing supplies or bricks or whatever for your house. I have the best, or you'll end up with a mess. Just about everything you sell, if you think about it, you could work into a way that you have a knotty problem that you can solve for them. I started by entertaining kids years ago, and so I have a little family site now. I still do some things at churches and at family events, do a lot of corporate picnic events where I have to entertain the kids. So I've got a website, a YouTube channel, teaching general magic. Now, it's not just for kids. You'll notice I mentioned things for adults there, and some of these knots I've already taught there, and I'm just going to tell you where they are. So I teach how to prepare a knot, and do that little one-hand little flick right up here. Like I said, prepare a knot. I teach how to prepare a rope and do that little one-hand flick right up here. I'll also have that in the comments. So that's the first thing I did. Untie that knot, and then I go into the schoolboy knot, which I taught right here. Now, as I say, I have this other website where you can learn some other tricks, which I'm going to add, and you can put your own presentation. And quite often, I'm going to take those tricks, when I think they're good for salesmen, put a presentation with them and put them on this channel, my corporate YouTube channel. I'm going to be adding some more corporate videos as I can. Well, here is the schoolboy knot. You pull the ends through like this, and it looks like a pretty tight bad knot, but it's just a fancier slip knot, and you can just give it a pull as you say whatever your message is. I think if you're only working for a few people, this is best with a shoestring. And that's probably how you normally are meeting people. Just use a shoestring. You don't need this big fat rope or any rope. And then you can fit it easily in your pocket in the last part, the opening and closing with the eye of the needle. That's much better with just a shoestring or a small simple cord. Now there is one knot here that I haven't taught before. It's the Chefalo vanishing knot. Excuse me. All of this stuff comes from this book, Rope Tricks for Magicians, Abbott's Encyclopedia of Rope Tricks for Magicians. Now this is the kind of book that you can get at a bookstore, which is why I'm teaching this stuff. Okay, this Chefalo knot is like Boy Scouts. I'll show you from both sides. It's a square knot. It's right over left, and then pull that one I just threw over, pull it through my way. And instead of tightening it up, I'm going to go left over right. I was holding that up with my fingers, but I don't have to. So now that's a square knot that has not been tightened. I'm going to take the piece that's in my right hand, bring it through and put it through the lower loop. Then go back underneath the lower loop, bring it through and put it through the upper loop. And this is just a big slip knot. Now I can kind of pull on it in the right places and tighten it up if I want to. And in fact, what I would have done normally is make the holes smaller. I'll show you, but it's just a big slip knot, and as I pull, it'll untie. So here's what I mean. If I do the square knot with the holes smaller, like that, I just have to leave enough room to put that through on this side, and I go underneath or around it and come back through the top knot from my side. And then it's a little tighter, a little more like a knot, except you can just pull it all right apart. And again, with a shoestring, it'll look much more like a knot. Then finally, I combine the schoolboy knot and the Chefalo knot. And there's a name for that. Somebody did that in that book too. anyway, so it's not even my idea. So I just do the schoolboy knot that I've already given you the link to. It's in the description. You pull the strings through, and I get that down kind of fairly tight without pulling it apart because it is a slip knot. Then I do the Boy Scout knot or whatever, right over, left, and under, kind of pull it tight so I have room at the end, just a little room. I have a little bit of it, there we go. So I have it like that, perfect. And I pull around that way. Now look, here I am staying on top. I'm staying on top of the other knot. I pull around that way, through the middle, come out just like this, and then I let somebody hang on to, now this is a big fat knot, so even though it's a fairly long rope, it's, with a shoestring you'd have a lot more room, but I would let a spectator, whoever's helping you, hold on to this. And then if you're computer networking or whatever, you're going to massage it and take it out, and they've always got the ends. Now anybody that's taken apart a knot knows that you almost always have to use the ends. You have two knots. If you just pull on this right down here, the first one's going to come apart. This one you really have to do more pulling apart. Pull the inside loop out. So you just kind of pull on it and the inside loop will come undone. Now you can massage that under your hands, with both hands you can massage away. If I had somebody here helping me, I'd have them hold that, and you can kind of just massage and undo and talk about your company, and don't hold it in front of your mouth like I was just doing. Turn around and show you my view and hope that you can see it. Okay, first the Chuffalo knot, which is right over left and through. And then you can tighten it pretty far down. Okay, then you go the other way. Left over right and through, pulling through your, so that's a square knot that's not tightened down. Now I take the right one in my right hand, it's coming through towards me, I go through the bottom loop, away from me, and then I bring it around towards me and come up and then go through the top loop. And that looks kind of like a mess, but it is all just a slip knot. If I was to pull, it would tighten up, especially if I pull right here. It would tighten up and look like it's a big, messy knot, kind of hard to see against the white background. That's why I had my shirt there. But when you pull, it comes apart. Okay. Oh, hi. I want to teach the combination knot that I did near the end, which is just the schoolboy knot tightened, and then the Boy Scout knot or Chuffalo knot done on top of that, and all tangled up. They hold on to it, you massage it apart. It's stuff I've already taught. And the schoolboy knot, I've already mentioned the link to that, but I'm going to kind of show you quickly from the backstage view. So I'll try to make sure I'm in a position where you can see. Now the schoolboy knot, I'm actually this way. I'm not going to go over it in detail. You can learn it from that other link. But this is, and I show this side view then. But I pull the loops through, and then pull the two ends through. Talk about the kids' shoestrings, and pull that kind of tight without pulling it. If I just keep pulling, it's a slip knot, it'll come undone. Then I have the ends, and I forget about that while I do the Chuffalo knot or the Boy Scout knot, whatever, right over left and under, left over right and under. Now I'm running out of room with this knot, but it doesn't matter. I've got it on this side, and just like before, I go through the bottom knot, and then I come up through the top, around and up through the top knot. And then it looks like a mess, because it is. It's a big old knot. So all I do, I'll let the spectator or the person you're selling to, or just whoever you're doing it for, hold the ends. Now you have two knots, one on top of the other. Down at the bottom, of course, of the schoolboy knot, and it ought to just come undone, just like that. Now again, under cover of your hands is how I would do this. Or that's how I would do it. So I'd have both hands on top, not again, but I'd have both hands on top, and I'd kind of undo that. And now this one, actually, you have to pull out. You have to pull part of it through. You can just feel it out and see how it works. But since they're holding on to the ends, it seems impossible. And you put together whatever story you've got to work with your company or whatever you sell, and you've got something. Now the very end is particularly good with the shoestring that I mentioned. I've already taught that. I taught it right over here. And it is the Eye of the Needle or something like that. It's in the same book, another book. It's been around a long time. It's harder with this kind of rope, and you wouldn't normally use it. But instead of a shoestring, if you're doing sales presentations to a group of 10 or 12, 15 people sitting a little further back, you may want to use a rope. I wouldn't use one this fat with these big bumpy ends. Anyway, you can say whatever you want. You don't have to have all the parts, but when you yank, it actually comes through the bottom into the loop. It's a little harder with this big fat rope. Didn't want to move as quickly, but that's why I had trouble when I yanked before. It comes right through that. You want to do it quick enough where they can't see. It's fantastic with a shoestring, smaller rope, much easier. Okay, I hope you get something out of that. I hope you can have something fun, have something to keep in your pocket. When the timing is right, you can do a little trick, make everybody smile. It's a great sales tool. I even have a friend that learned a bunch of tricks that was a truck driver. And he had to stand around while the truck was being loaded. So everywhere he went, they knew him as Magic Simon. At every dock, he would perform a little something. And he wasn't selling anything, but it just put a smile on people's faces, made people like him, made his job easier. Everybody remembered him. And when you're a salesman, everybody remembers you because you tell jokes or do a few tricks and you're likable. It's going to make you more money and make your company more money. And if you have a sales meeting and you want to have somebody come in and do the tough stuff, call me. My name's Sparkman. You can contact me down at the bottom. Have a good day.